Hello, everyone. My name is Marion with DTM Real Talk Channel. It's the channel that you can tune into, have the ability to listen to the thoughts of others about topics all over the world that touch every one of our lives. Everybody goes through basically the same thing. There is nothing new under the sun. So if you're going through, someone else has already been there. Maybe you can find hope. Maybe it's a pathway that can set you on the right road just by tuning in. So DTM Real Talk, just keeping it real. And if you like it, like us at the bottom, subscribe, and let us know just how we helped you. Just keeping it real. Nothing but love. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to DTM Real Talk. And I always say I'm excited because I really am excited. Y'all see this beautiful lady next to me. But anyway, let me just give you an overview of what you're about to hear. This is Rachel. And Rachel, say hi.
Hi.
I had not seen Rachel since she was about 8, 9, 10 or whatever. And she's not going to tell y'all her age because she don't want y'all to know all that. Okay. But anyway, I was at church. I think it was a boot camp. Was it a boot camp, a marriage boot camp or some kind of boot camp at a church she was attending in Dallas. And I heard somebody call my name, Miss Marion. And I turned around and it was Rachel, but she wasn't 8. She was all grown up. And of course, we hugged in the hey and the highs and all of that. And I need to tell you guys something. She's been so diligent on Facebook with her testimony, her story, who she was, where she is, and who she is today. And I reached out to her because the church that she attended when she was little, I actually was a part of that church. And you guys know my story. I was raised in a Christian home and I was that rebellious child. And, when the Lord did save me, I wanted so bad to be delivered from the life I had once lived. I knew he had saved me, but the temptations were still there. Y'all got to get that, okay? Mm-hmm. So I wanted so bad. And I was introduced to this man who was the pastor of this church. And because of the way he taught the word of God, line upon line, precept, verse by verse, I was all into that. I was really into that because I wanted to be delivered. I wanted to hear the word of God. And I knew my life before that day. And anyway, the outside story, I will share with you guys when Mr. Brown and I come together. We're going to tell y'all about it. But Rachel's going to tell you the inside story. And we will just begin with the fact, Rachel, what are you doing today? What are you doing today?
Well, today I'm working at a university and also studying to be a Christian counselor. That's something else that God led me to do, just on this journey. And right now I'm using Facebook as a platform to just share my story about, just like all the different things that I've been through.
Right.
I just want to try to reach people for the glory of God through my testimony and prayerfully it's helping somebody. And, that's what I'm going to be doing, until the day I deserve.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I also saw on your Facebook page one time you were sick. Girl, Tell me what God can't do. Yeah. Tell folks about that.
The healer. So I had an allergic reaction to an antibiotic.
Okay.
And it burned about 70% of my body. And the way that it burned, like from the inside out, because it was like more of a chemical reaction.
Okay.
And so basically, it was all over my body, my arms, leg. I lost all the skin on my face, on my back, my chest and stomach, and some of the skin on my arms and legs.
Wow. I saw that. And you journaled it and you posted pictures day by day. It was just an amazing a miracle before your eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell
And,
me, when you were going through it, when you first saw yourself, what was your response?
I mean, I didn't know what was happening. I did not know what was happening. And one of the things I knew it wasn't going to kill me.
Right, right, right.
Because I had that faith in God. I was like, I'm not, he's not done with me on this earth. And this, to be honest, like I thought this was going to just be another part of my testimony that I'm going to be sharing. I don't know how long it's going to take for me to heal. I
Uh-huh.
don't know if I'll be fully, like if the burn, my skin will come back or anything, but I saw myself changing, my face swelling, blistering, and all this other stuff. And it was scary, but not for 1 second did I think that I was going to lose my life. I
Well,
trusted God, like this happened like in November of 2019,
yes.
but for like 10 years, I've been preaching about, having faith. You got to be strong. You got to do this. And this was testing time. And so it literally was testing time. Just
Wow.
like, do you believe all that stuff that you've been saying, that you've been preaching?
Absolutely. Yes.
And I was like, I believe it. I believe it. And so, God was with me through it all. He's still with me now. And so, yeah.
Wow. It was amazing. I followed you the whole time. I was
Yeah.
like, go God, go God, go God. I was following you the whole time.
Yeah. And the doctors, they were even, amazed that the healing was happening so quickly, because it's a rare condition that happens to people, and some
Yeah.
people do. It's fatal as well. Some people do lose their lives
Yeah.
because of it. And then they have so much more that happened. Like what happened to me, like from the outside, it was terrible.
Uh-huh.
But like other people, it affects all their organs, their eyes, that like they blind and like everything, because basically it just burns all your linings, like all your mucus line, everything, the
Yeah.
cover, it burns the coverings. So it was like a shedding for me. And like I didn't have any of those issues. And um I'm believing God that there won't be any long-term effects because of it. And like I deal with dry eyes, but that's about the extent
Right.
of it.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, so he really, really had me covered in there. And then like even when I was in the hospital, I didn't have to do the catheters and the feeding tubes and the breathing tubes and all.
Wow.
I was just healing. Like they were just seeing the skin come off. They were seeing it come off. And I was like, all right, God,
Do you think?
yeah, do your thing. That's
Think.
exactly.
So would you say that you know God as a healer?
Yes, definitely. He is a healer. Yeah, amongst many other things that has happened.
Amen. Yeah, yeah. It reminds me of my parents when they used to say what did they say? Oh, God is a mind regulator. Yeah. But you don't know God as a mind regulator until you're about to lose your mind.
Until you about to right.
You don't know God as a healer until you've been sick.
Right.
You don't know God as yeah, anyway, that's my time. But anyway, so tell us a little bit about where you're from. Tell the folks where you're from.
I am from New Orleans. I was born and raised in New Orleans. I am one of 13 kids. My parents had 13 of us.
Yes, yes.
I'm number 7 in the bunch. And we all grew up together. And yeah, so that's where I'm from. And I moved to Dallas about 10 years ago,
Awesome.
because I had family out here after Katrina. They moved
Uh-huh.
out here. So I just moved here, for better opportunities,
Right.
for better schools for my daughter. I do have a daughter. She's 20.
Oh, I thought I saw your daughter on Facebook, but I couldn't tell if it was one of your sisters or not. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I wouldn't know these children if I see them. I went to a funeral and someone was walking up to me saying, I'm so and so, I'm so and so. I was like, oh, okay. Because I hadn't seen anybody since it was like 8 or 9 years old, so so your parents were Christians. I already know that because I know your mom. And so tell me, what happened with go with your story with the church, how you grew up in that church, and
Mhm.
what led to what. Okay.
Yeah. So I would say that my mom was a Christian.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Mom is a Christian, but my dad probably not so much. But I grew up in the home, in a Christian home, mostly because, my mom had most of the influence.
Right.
And we grew up in this church, which I like to call a cult,
Right.
because he basically wanted to control people. He wanted to control, or he did control,
Yes.
where we went, what we did, what we wore, what to watch, just different things like that. And a lot of people who were in the church, I think they were brainwashed. I couldn't understand it. By the time we left the church, I was about 14 years old. The reason we left, or the church was over at 14 years old, is because we found out that he was a pedophile, and he had molested several of the young girls in the church, and I was one of them.
Okay.
It happened to me just once, almost a second time, but I lied to him about something, which prevented it from happening. But the day that I lied was the day that everything came out.
Wow.
And it it was crazy. I knew it was wrong what he did, and it was kind of, I don't know, I think towards the end he got kind of sloppy with what he was doing, because the young girls started to talk about it, and no one was supposed to know, who
About
was
the other one. About the
yeah,
other one.
the other one. But of course, we were young girls. We were like all 14, 15 years old, whatever. And we're talking about it. Well, we would see them come from like the back room where some of these things took place, and looking all this
Let me
shovel.
ask you something. Did that happen like during the church service, or what? Where did that happen? Because
Yeah. Some
really,
in the back of the church, or when he was when they were having church at his house, in that back room.
I remember that, and we used to just be in there singing and praising God, and he back there doing that.
Yeah. And he called it special counseling.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But we had been groomed to, I think, like a lot of the church members had been groomed to, I guess, not question the special counseling, because we did talk when we were in there, and like I'm 13, 14 years old, sitting on his lap, telling, he would want to know things like if I'm dealing with any lust, or if I'm like, if I like any boys, or just
Yeah.
crazy stuff. Like, why is a grown man asking a 13, 14-year-old girl this while sitting on his lap?
Wow.
So just looking back, I know that was the grooming process, because he was just trying to test the water to see, how much I would say, or how far I would go, or how far he could go, to be honest.
Right.
And yeah, so that was kind of like his whole little process. And of course, I didn't recognize this at the time,
Sure.
just going back, just thinking about, pedophiles and how they operate, because I've been, an advocate against sexual abuse for the last maybe 7 or 8 years, and understanding how they think, and the
Right.
growth process, and what they do, to get the people comfortable with that thing happening. And so that's what he did. Yeah.
So what you said the church dissolved. I was long gone before that. We got the word after the fact.
Mhm.
Just so you know, we were the new kids on the block. We had just come in. It's like me and my husband and a couple of other couples that
Yeah.
we brought there because of the fact he taught the word of God. But it wasn't long that we learned that something is not right. And I don't know if you know my background or not, but I was a fighter. And I think if he would have did something like that with me, I would not be having this conversation. I would
Yeah.
be in Angola somewhere. So, but anyway, yeah. So, okay. So you say the church dissolved. So what happened? What made it dissolve?
It was so the day that everything came out, it was he sent for me the thing, I don't know, like some of the parents, they were so just so oblivious to what he was doing or what was being done. And they trusted him so much
Right.
with us. And when it was a Friday morning, I believe it was the last day of school, the last day of my ninth grade year. I He called my mom and told her to, let me go for special counseling. I knew it was for because it had happened to me before, a week before. And I was just out of my mind. And I couldn't understand why my mom would let me go. It was like 7 o'clock in the morning. And he sent his driver to come and pick me up. I couldn't understand why she would let me go to, for this special counseling on a school day, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
So he came, like, I was nervous that whole time. I was like, to be honest, I don't know, like talking about the graphic thing, but I was like, I need to have a lie ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, I'm going to put on the pad and
Mm-hmm.
I'll, with a marker, So when he says, drop your pen, I'll say I'm on my period.
Right, right.
But I couldn't find a red marker, so I just colored it in like red and like orange and yellow, like trying to make red or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah.
Because I was desperate. I did not want this to happen to me again.
Yes.
And so I got to his house and I was shaking like a leaf on a tree, and because I knew lying was wrong and all this other stuff going on in the Christian home. And so here I am about to lie to the pastor.
Hmm.
And so I lied. I told him, I said, I'm on my period or whatever. And
Right.
he said, okay. And that was it. Like he didn't ask to see or anything like that, didn't want proof or anything like that.
Right.
So he allowed me to leave and go down the street where another church member lived,
Mm-hmm.
and to finish getting ready to go to school.
Okay.
And so I was getting ready to go to school, and this church member, she had two daughters. One was my age, so we went to school together,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one was like six, probably about 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He sent for her,
The
and
6-year-old.
the 6-year-old. He
Okay.
said, bring the 6-year-old. He told the brother, there was a
Yeah.
brother too. And so the brother walked his 6-year-old sister down there. And I was like, I know what he's about to do to her. He's about to do to her what he did to me. And I told the sister, I hadn't shared it with her before because it wasn't happening to her. And I told her, and she ran to her mom, and just everything just just exploded from
Ah.
there.
So she
Everything.
told her mother.
She told her mom, and then mom called the leadership, the ladies who are over, some of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
church there. Um and they put me on the phone, and they were like, "Is that true? Is he going to do that?" And I was like, yes, it happened to me and it happened to several other people. So they started trying to do damage control, calling all the different parents and all the ones that it happened to. And like my mom asked my two sisters why they were there. And, other parents asked their daughters, and just, yeah. So at the end of the day, about 8 girls came forward with their abuse story. And we had to go to court and had to testify and do all these
Wow.
different, go to the hospitals and being poked and prodded and all kind of other stuff. But
Wow.
in all that, all the people, investigators and all these things that we're told, nobody ever stopped to try to take care of us
Right.
in our mind. Like they were trying to prosecute him or whatever, make sure he was punished for it, but
Mm.
they didn't help us. And
So
so a lot.
do you think that the leadership knew about that?
Yeah, because I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it happened to the youngest one.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
was convinced of that myself, just by demeanor, because God had helped me to be sensitive to different types of demeanor. And now that I look back, because I help women that are or have been abused, because I
mhm,
was raped. But Yeah. So back to your story. I just paused you there for a second.
Oh
So,
yeah, no. But in all that, no one ever stopped and said, this wasn't your fault. Like you didn't deserve this.
right.
So, let's get this person some counseling, or and unfortunately, counseling in the Black community was kind of taboo. And so, like at that time, this was in like 94, 95, something like that.
Mhm.
And yeah, so basically, I know I did personally, I carried the burden of thinking I did something to deserve that. um,
Mm.
Unworthy, feeling like I was the reason that things blew up, or things,
Sure.
or anything. So I carried a lot of that with me, just thinking, I was worthless, or like, why, purposeless. Why do you even have me here, God?
Sure.
Like, and I didn't trust God anymore, for a short period of time,
Sure.
just when I needed something, because I'm like, that was one of your people who did that. And, so it was just a lot. It was a lot.
For a child to carry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: how was your mom's response to that happening to you? And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So my mom was, she was crushed. She said she didn't know, she didn't know that it was happening. And she was just so far gone into that having like the cult mindset.
Yes.
She couldn't believe that he could do something like that, because I believe she was like one of his first members.
She
You
was. She was. When we got there, when my husband and I got there, I think there were two families that made up his church, and
Yeah.
you guys were one of them in the other family.
Mhm.
So God was dealing with me with a whole different with a different mindset. I was prideful, and that was like, oh no, I'm not going there, in my view. But yeah, your mom was just caught up, and because they started young at an early age, but it made us really skeptical,
Yeah.
but because I wanted so bad to be delivered from my issues, I said, oh no, the word is here, the word is here. And and my husband, actually, he was the one that said, something wrong with this, and then I didn't see it till later, because I was so forward and rebellious. They called me rebellious the whole time I was there. The whole time I was there. But the grooming part, that thing, it starts very early, and it's like a child from age 1 to 7. You groom them, you make them who they are, and then later on they see, or they can see. But what I was going to ask you is that afterwards, after you left, I'm asking you this question because I felt this way. I never turned my back on God, but I didn't want to go to another church.
Mhm. Yeah.
I did not want to go to another church. I didn't want to be around church folks. They could profess Christianity. I did not want to be around them, but I knew that God was real.
Yeah.
And I knew what he had done for me. And I knew where I was and where I am now, where I was then.
Mhm.
So I knew the word was real, but I didn't want to be bothered with another church person.
Mhm.
How was your feelings at that time?
Um, Probably basically the same. Like I never not believed in God and Jesus and all this other stuff. It's just I was skeptical. I was skeptical about church people, but I was still a child, so we didn't have a choice. And at that time, it probably was maybe less than a year. Excuse me, less than a year later that we joined another church. And so, as a family, and this time around, my dad was involved. It was a Baptist church or whatever. And so the first time around, my dad wasn't involved. He didn't attend that church. He always said that he didn't trust them. He didn't this, he didn't that, or whatever. I mean, it could have been because, he was in his own rebellious state or whatever, or, maybe he did sense something, I would never know. But, yeah, so we ended up joining another church, and that church is where we were baptized. And because they didn't do baptisms at the church, at the cult, they didn't do them
Yes, because
there.
it became a cult. It really
Yeah,
did.
yeah. And so, yeah, so we were baptized there, but I really just, and then that one ended up being, we attended that church for several years as well, but the way we departed from that one was difficult too. It was another difficult, like it wasn't anything, sexual or anything like that, but just a lot of deception and just different things like that.
Yeah. So, wow. All I can say is I applaud you, young lady. You're absolutely gorgeous, and God is not finished with you yet, as you
Yes.
already know. And so
Mhm.
we're going to log off, tell the folks, we're going to tell them not goodbye. We're going to tell them see you next week, because we want you to tell what happened in your life after you left there and
Mhm.
how you became who you are today.
Awesome.
That good? Awesome. So this is DTM Real Talk, and we just doing what? Keeping it real. Thanks for watching DTM Real Talk. Be sure to join us for more conversation. And oh yeah, don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe while you're there.